Ladies and gentlemen of the Warren County School Board. So it's come to this, has it? Picket lines and social media blasts? Local and regional news broadcasts and articles every day. A whole county divided over rights and privileges, screaming at each other on the internet, arguing about things they don't understand. Man, I do not envy you folks right now. By now, I'm sure that you've received phone calls, letters, and emails either condoning or defaming your behavior. And I'm sure you've heard every side of the issue whether you want to entertain it or not. And I'll bet that you're just biting your nails in anticipation for Monday night's meeting, where all of these people have promised to show up and give you all a piece of their minds. Your teachers have gone on strike. I know you know that because you have the internet and the paper and all those phone calls and emails I mentioned above. I know you know that because you made sure we all knew which role you were going to play in this drama when you canceled their health insurance without notice on Friday. But I didn't bring up the obvious just to be that guy. I just want to make sure that we are on the same page. Your teachers have decided that they would rather go without pay, go without benefits and the money they depend on to live and feed their families than work one more day for you. It's impressive. Really, it is. You should be proud of yourselves that you've brought the education of an entire county to a standstill with your behavior. How many days did you have to make the same poor decisions? How many days did you dig in your heels and practice such gross obstinance and unprofessionalism? How many days since the teachers have been treated fairly? Personally, I've lost count. But I'll bet if you ask someone on that picket line, they'd give you an exact answer. Every day you allow this strike to continue without negotiations, you declare yourselves complacent with starving these people who just want to teach your kids. You're telling the county and the rest of the world that their lives aren't as important as your bottom line. You're telling them they don't matter. But let's face it, you've been telling them they don't matter since you made them roll a dice to determine their fate 5 years ago. If we're being honest, you've been telling teachers they don't matter for a very, very long time. And for years now, they've let you do that. They've let you walk all over them. They've accepted pay freezes to keep their fellow teachers from a furlough. They've watched their colleagues move to other districts and other states because they simply couldn't get a fair shake in Warren County. They've provided their own school supplies and boxes of tissues. They've worked for over 2 years without a contract. And they even rescinded their first strike notice to give you another chance to do the right thing. And still, you tell them they don't matter. Now, allow me to betray my bias here. I think teachers matter. I love teachers. I love teachers because I relish being a functioning human being. I love reading and writing, especially letters like this one, and traveling and contributing to society in a productive and meaningful way. And I know a lot of people who feel this way. A lot of people in the county you've disrupted share the same opinions I do. But my question is this. Why don't you? Why don't you think that teachers matter? Why don't you support the people who help to mold your children into responsible citizens? Why don't you respect a profession of people who've dedicated their lives to ensuring the success of future generations? Why don't you want the children of Warren County to be taught by people who feel respected, people who can focus not on this ridiculous game of sandbox superiority, but on educating and exciting them for the possibilities of the future? Why are you working so hard to ensure our teachers fail? I mentioned earlier about your role in this drama. You are the villains of this piece. If you had any doubt about it, especially after that delightful move you pulled on Friday, allow me to assure you, you are the bad guys. You are the greedy kings and queens, the evil sorcerers, the sheriffs of Nottingham, Ebenezer Scrooge, Pharaoh. I could go on, but I don't have to. You know what people are saying. You know you are the monsters. People don't read A Christmas Carol and think, that Bob Cratchit, what a whiner. They don't read Exodus and think, poor Pharaoh, how is any Egyptian work supposed to get done with Moses and these slaves mouthing off like they're people? No. They read these stories because it's human nature to stand with the little guy. They read these stories because we all root for the kid who gets up after being knocked down again and again. We all want to stand with those who have the courage to finally say, enough. Now, I really hope that you're at least a little familiar with these stories, because if not, I've wasted a lot of really good metaphors and I might be spoiling the ending for you here, but that's a risk I'm willing to take. The villains don't win. They just don't. Good conquers evil. Generosity and kindness and freedom prevail, and the winners go on to tell their story of how they defeated the evil tyrants and overlords. At this stage of the game, it doesn't look good for you guys. But let me let you in on a little secret. You can still win. When you treat people with the respect and appreciation that they have earned and deserve, you win. When you pay people what they're worth so they can continue educating and preparing your children for the future, you win. When you acknowledge that both sides of this argument want a happy, successful, educated community where kids are taught by some of the best in the state, you win. And when you invest in people who only want the best for the future, you win. The only way you lose is if you keep doing what you are doing. Unfortunately, if you take that route, you're not the only one who loses. The kids lose, the teachers lose, the community loses, and for what? For you to maintain your status as a villain? Is that worth it? Is being a villain that great? Is this exactly what you hoped for when you signed up for this job? Because if it is, I am sorry, and I'll stop right now. But something tells me it isn't. And if it isn't, then maybe it's time to consider a change of heart. Maybe it's time to think about how the history of Warren County will remember you. Maybe it's time to stop showing people how much they don't matter and start focusing on what does matter. Maybe it's time to stop losing. Sincerely, Emily J. Jeziorski.